May the words of my mouth be used for the liberation of all souls. My initial idea with this sermon was to speak in more general terms about universalism and the call to solidarity as liberation, a salvation of sorts for all. But the world had other ideas. The world broke my heart again, and I didn't have to look very far for illustrations. The people of Minneapolis and Louisville, Atlanta, LA, Philadelphia, and New York, Washington, D.C., and Salt Lake City are rallying and rioting, saying enough. There is no more denying the truth, no more denying our humanity, no more denying my siblings' humanity. We can't breathe. We are dying. No more denying, not after Breonna Taylor, a first responder working during a freaking pandemic who was shot dead in her home in March. Shot dead because Louisville police entered the wrong residence without knocking, and Miss Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, did what so many have done and been called heroes for doing. He used a firearm to protect his home and his loved ones from intruders, and the police returned fire. Prosecutors are dropping charges against Mr. Walker, and the FBI is investigating Miss Taylor's death, though I know many will think of Fred Hampton and assume justice will not happen. No more denying, not after George Floyd died in police custody during an arrest for allegedly using a counterfeit $20 bill. He pleaded to be able to breathe, echoing the last words of Eric Garner 5 years ago. All the while, the police officer, Derek Chauvin, kept his knee to the back of Mr. Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes as bystanders told the officer to get off of Mr. Floyd and check his pulse. This world continues to break my heart, and I can't stop loving it because I believe we can transform it. I believe there is a transcendent love calling us to do so. And these protests are not only outlets for people with no other way of expressing the grief and fear and pain of how we currently live. There is a deep love and longing at the core of the pain. It's the kind of no-nonsense love that calls out bad behavior and reminds us what we are capable of if we would stop avoiding it. The central longing to be our most potent and fullest selves, the beings animated by a steadfast love with each breath. Some say the name of God cannot be spoken, only breathed. Each inhale and exhale an opportunity to connect with that mysterious source of all. I long for a world where we do not rob each other of that chance for connection. I long for a world where nobody needs to beg to breathe. There is no more denying. Here is the truth. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. No matter what, loving and supporting each other will connect us to a love that knows no bounds. We will lose the chains of such falsehoods of separation between each other, and the lies that tell us our destinies are somehow individual. Such solidarity is required for living our Unitarian Universalist faith. No matter which identities we carry individually, our faith demands that our privileged pieces be aligned with the oppressed, so we can be saved collectively. It's at the root of our tradition that your salvation from suffering is inseparably connected to mine. Our Universalist heritage proclaims God is love. Love, being the source of all, cannot be withheld from anyone because it is the truth of who we are. Though we no longer have any creeds to memorize, we still teach this idea in our principles and sources, albeit in a more wordy way. Our congregations affirm that every human being has inherent worth and dignity, and that we will seek justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. This beckons back to an older call to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God, perhaps to even love our neighbors as ourselves. There is no justice or equity without solidarity, because getting proximate is how we transform into the beloved community or kingdom of God. So we get proximate with each other because our fates are one, siblings. And steadfast love is our truth, the life that is breathing us. We work to allow each other to taste the sweetness of the kingdom, however briefly, right here and now. Muarista theologian Ada Maria Isasi Diaz writes, "At the center of the unfolding of the kingdom is the salvific act of God. Salvation and liberation are interconnected. Salvation is gratuitously given by God. It flows from the very essence of God, love. Salvation is worked out through the love between God and each human being and among human beings. This love relationship is the goal of all life. It constitutes the fullness of humanity. Siblings, love is the fullness of who you are. It is where you come from, no matter your family of origin. It is where we are called to go. While Ada Maria Isasi Diaz is not explicitly a universalist, her statement is, and it tells us that the what's next is handled. God's essence is love, so salvation is given, whatever that might mean to our own searches for truth and meaning. So boom, we get to focus on the what's now part. That's where the liberation is. We have a duty to love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. And here's the great news. You don't have to love perfectly. Love is not being passive and complacent in abuse. You can love the humanity of someone without being required to interact with them, especially if they are falling short of loving and supporting you. It is completely legitimate to offer meditation or prayers for people that you do not want to talk to. That we must understand and work to end the oppression of all. We need not do it perfectly because there is a love holding us. And the simple fact that we can imagine the beloved community, which includes those we can't stand, that we can imagine it means it is possible. Even if we aren't able to fully grasp what it would finally be like to arrive in a world where it is no longer required to record interracial interactions for fear of death. There is a longing for that world, and it comes from our truest selves. We are busy cultivating that reality, and the world that is continues to break our hearts. But do not lose faith that practicing and cultivating will ripple out and transform everyone. Because love is the essence of all that is, and it is calling us back to this truth. As Adrienne Marie Brown said in our reading today, it's also a great time to stop being polite. Be loving, kind, direct, but most of all, be truthful. Full of the capacity to speak the truth when you see it and feel it. She continues, I remain fascinated by us, anticipating how we will move beyond reactionary rhetoric and action to build our connections and move forward from our deepest love and longing. If we stay connected to our deepest love and longing and live in solidarity with others, what amazing things might we realize? There is much to do, and we are not doing it alone. May you be able to perceive that deepest love and longing. May those who actively work against liberation be awakened to the truth. May we work toward a world transformed by our care and lose those chains. Amen.